So 1989 till about 1999, 2000 is considered the Disney Renaissance period. Some of the greatest, most iconic animated Disney films of all time came out in that period. Anything from The Little Mermaid to The Lion King, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, ending with Tarzan, I believe, being the actual last one. But you have some others in there as well, like Beauty and the Beast. And just quite frankly, this was an iconic time for animated Disney films. At the same time, around this period of time, around all these films being made, we had a bunch of classic Disney films getting sequels and sequels made that were end up going straight to video. So let's go ahead and get into this one, a sequel to a classic 1955 film titled Lady and the Tramp. Yeah, this movie exists. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Lady and the Tramp II, Scamp's Adventure. So as I mentioned in the intro, the original film came out in 1955, and if you guys saw the review I did with Blacktastic Media, you know that I am a huge fan of that film. As cheesy as it may be, and even though there are probably elements in there that are definitely dated culturally, but without a doubt that film has such a charm for me, and a lot of films from that era of animated Disney films definitely have a charm for me. And so Lady and the Tramp II, Scamp's Adventure was one I remember seeing a lot more as a kid, just because it was the newer film. This film actually released in 2001, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how much time has passed and how many times I watched this movie as a kid. As a kid, I loved it. I had a lot of fun with this movie, and it was definitely interesting to go back and revisit it. I definitely have a lot more criticisms of the film today than I did when the film first came out or when I was originally watching it. We're going to get into those, but ultimately what I can say is that I was a big fan of this film when I was a kid. And as I mentioned just a little bit ago, Blacktastic Media joined me for the review of the first Lady and the Tramp, so he's here once again. We'll be hearing from him in just a little bit, but once again, a big thanks to Blacktastic Media for being here in this video. You guys can find the link to his channel down below in the description box. Go give him some love, let him know I sent you. But for now, let's get into my thoughts on Lady and the Tramp II, Scamp's Adventure. Obviously coming out so many years after the original film, this is a follow-up that picks up pretty much right after the events of the first one. A little bit of time has passed, but not too much, and we now see that Lady and Tramp have, you know, a set of kids. They have 4 kids, 3 little girls that look like Lady, and then 1 young boy that looks exactly like Tramp. I think it's kind of funny that they didn't even try to kind of blend the species at all, the 2 different kinds of dogs that they are, and try to blend, you know, maybe what that kind of mutt would look like. They completely just make it, here's the girls and here's the boys, and they look exactly like the mother and they look exactly like the father. And since this is a newer film compared to the original, there's definitely a cleaner look to the animation, though I will still say I love the animation of the first film far more, just because it has a charm that I think that this one just doesn't have as much of. And I think maybe that's just because I grew up with that film originally a lot more. I enjoy the music, the feel and the vibe of that original film. But yeah, you know, this one definitely has some really clean, nice looking animation, and that's definitely a big praise to give this movie. One thing I just have to talk about right out of the gate about this movie that I do not like at all is the music. The musical numbers across this film just do not do it for me, and I just wish that it had. You know, when I was rewatching it, I was thinking to myself, I don't even remember all these songs being in this movie. There's so many songs in this one, whereas the first one had a couple songs, and they're iconic songs. Whether you like them or whether you don't like them, you can at least see where they're iconic, why they're iconic. They're songs that you probably have heard, even if you have not seen that movie. Whereas with this one, the songs were not catchy in any way, shape, or form, and I found myself losing interest every single time the song started. I watched it with my fiance and my buddy, the Big Rob Theory, and the 3 of us were just kind of rolling our eyes every time that the music started. And so yeah, without a doubt, the musical numbers in this film, which there are just way too many, or especially a lot more than the original, yeah, they just don't work for me in this movie. So what is this movie all about? I probably should have started off with that, but the basic gist of this one is it's kind of a reverse version of the original film. In that original film, you have Lady kind of accidentally through the aunt, you know, kind of being let out, you know what I mean? She ends up kind of getting out into some trouble, ends up falling in love with this street dog named Tramp. She ends up bringing him back home, and they start a nice little happy family. Except that this movie focuses on the character of Scamp, who is the son, again, of Lady and Tramp, who looks exactly like Tramp, and he wants to be a street dog. He has this great life. He has this family who loves him. He's got humans and the dogs that are part of this big family that he's a part of, and as much as he may enjoy them, as much as he may love them, them, he feels constrained. He feels kind of pushed down in his life, and he wants to move on to go and do whatever he wants. And so when he sees street dogs just kind of roaming around, he wants to be a part of that madness. Well, one day after being scolded for making a huge mess, he ends up deciding to do that. He's over the rules and he's decided, I'm going to go out there and be a street dog. And that's pretty much what the movie is all about. It's kind of a reverse Lady and the Tramp, where he's out there, he doesn't want to come back home. There's a couple times throughout the course of the film where he runs into his parents and pretty much tells his dad, I'm going to stay out here. And Tramp pretty much tells him, I guess you're just going to have to learn a lesson on your own. And so this is a movie about, wanting to go out there and be, maybe older than you are, wanting to go out there and thinking that you're the big bad, that you can completely conquer the world. I think that's something that we can all relate with, right? When you're kind of going through this phase of time where you feel like all you have is rules in front of you, your parents are putting rules in front of you, school has rules in front of you, and ultimately you just want to go out there and just live your life. A lot of people want to say that they're grown at a pretty young age and just think that they can go out there and dominate the world without really knowing anything about the world, without having any street smarts. And this movie definitely highlights that kind of individual, and how sometimes doing that and sometimes trying to be this rebellious individual sometimes pushes away your family and kind of allows you to kind of be blinded to the amazing things that you have in your life that other people may not have, some privileges that you may have. And so Scamp is in that position here where he has this privileged, cushy life living with this family that's obviously very well off and has a family of dogs and humans who love him so much. And there are street dogs who want that life, though there are street dogs who also kind of hate that life. And that's why we have the villain of this film, Buster, who was an old friend of Tramp's and kind of has a vendetta against Tramp now because of the fact that Tramp decided to leave the street life to go be with this dog named Lady and start a family. So Buster feels like Tramp kind of sold him out and kind of just like abandoned him to go live this life. Tramp is like, listen, I just fell in love. This is what I wanted to do. And that's pretty much the story. You have this dog Buster, who is the villain of the movie, this very cocky, confident street dog who kind of takes Scamp under his wing and tries to turn him against Lady and Tramp and doesn't want him to go back home. And this is just kind of a tug of war of, the heart and maybe the desire of that you may have in your life. You may want to do something, but you may not realize the cost that it may be. You may not realize the struggle you have to go through to kind of obtain certain things in life. And sometimes you just have to be knocked down a couple pegs by reality to kind of be humbled and realize maybe I don't have this. Maybe I'm not necessarily as badass as I think I am. And that's kind of the journey that you have our characters going on throughout the course of the film. Now, I definitely have some more to talk about in this movie. So before I do that, let's go ahead and hear what Blacktastic Media had to say, and we'll get back to my thoughts on this movie.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, it's your boy, and I'm back with my main man, Anthony A. Perez, dropping another collab. Yeah, Perez, you got me last time, and you got me pretty good. I didn't see that shit coming, but I was waiting like a game of double dutch for your ass to come back and hit me with something. And you got me still a little bit. The sequel to the famous Lady and the Tramp. But this is called Lady and the Tramp Part 2, Scamp's Adventure. I'm just assuming Scamp's probably that little puppy from the first movie, the one that looked like his daddy. All the other ones look like mama. And I was right. This movie, I think, came out in 2001. Yeah. It opens up with a song called Welcome. I wanted to slit my wrists right then and there. I'm like, this song sucks ass. God damn, Perez. Man, what did I ever do to you, bro? Oh man, that opening number was terrible. It takes place now, 4th of July weekend. Last movie, it was Christmas, so the holiday theme is kind of cohesive with both films. And you see the whole family together inside the house. The father's giving all the puppies bath. They all got voices, they're talking. The 3 little puppy girls are cute. One of them is off. Something wrong with that one. He's got a weird voice. You can tell, yeah, that motherfucker's a couple of fries short of a Happy Meal. Then Scamp, of course, is just like his dad when he was younger. He wants to be adventurous. He wants to be an outside dog. He wants to be free. He doesn't want to be bound to rules and things. Well, the little baby gets Scamp in trouble. Throws a ball outside, he goes out there and get it, tracks mud throughout the house, gets mud on everybody. All right, Scamp, your ass is going in the backyard. No, I guess it's the front yard. In the doghouse, chained up. You're being punished. And his dad, turned into a bit of a bitch in this movie. He's all, well, Scamp, you have to do the right thing. And, well, Dad, I'm like, wait a minute. In the first movie, motherfucker, you was a tramp. You was fucking all kind of dogs and doing shit. Now you a house Negro? What's up? You all of a sudden a punk. But we all gotta grow up, you know, and do the right thing once you settle down and have a couple of pups. So that's the whole thing of this movie. Scamp wants to be a real dog doing real dog shit out there in the real world, being free. He hates abiding by the rules. So you see these dogs outside the gate doing the dog catcher dirty. They messing with him, all kind of stuff. I'm like, man, is that Don Knotts as a dog catcher? I said, wait a minute, Don Knotts died like back in 2006. I'm like, oh, okay. It wasn't Don Knotts' voice doing the film. It was somebody doing an impersonation of him, but in honor and inspiration, they used his character from the Andy Griffin Show. I'm like, they did a damn good job. I thought it was Don Knotts. It was pretty damn impressive. The animation looks good, straight Disney 2D, it looks great. So he sees these dogs out there giving the dog catcher having a hard time with those dogs, and the main Doberman pinscher, Buster, is showing out good, big time. And they do all these shenanigans and they get away. And it's funny, and Scamp's like, man, I want to be like that. Oh boy, here comes another song. Yeah. I will say this movie does get off to a faster pace than the last film, but these songs were like, stopping me in my tracks. Oh my God, I hated this song. At the end of the song, he tumbles over and breaks the little dog chain, and he gets away. He's free, so he runs off to chase those dogs. And not to mention, one of those dogs in the pack of the dogs was a cute little female dog. They kind of gave each other eye contact. He's like, yeah, I'm just like my daddy. I want some of that ass. But well, these dogs are junkyard dogs. They have this big old junkyard that they hang out and they do their little things and acrobatic stuff. And guess what comes next? Yeah, another fucking song. I'm like, oh shit. This music numbers are bad. Usually Disney numbers are pretty catchy, upbeat, you know. Hey, not these songs. They make you want to slit your wrist and die immediately or jump off a damn bridge. So Scamp's got to prove himself to these junkyard dogs. You're gonna roll with us? You gotta do like 3 tasks to prove yourself worthy of being a junkyard dog. And you can tell Buster, he got the perfect name because he is a Buster. Then there's this backstory where Buster and Tramp used to be homies back in the day. Then Buster got jealous because Tramp found a female friend and, you know, hooked up and became a house dog. Buster, you're awfully upset about that. I mean, was you in love with Tramp? I mean, what's the deal, brother? You're a big, buff, Doberman pinscher. You should be okay. Never had a girlfriend or nothing, you know. He was trying to get with that one little dog, but she's like, nah, we ain't together. So it was a little weird backstory there, trying to tie in both movies, but that part did not work for me because he would have been in the first movie, obviously, but you know, not things work out. So Scamp's running all over town trying to prove himself. He's a house dog. He's not a street savvy dog. He keeps making all these mistakes, but his personality and charm gets him through all the tasks for the most part. And he runs into his parents, his mom and dad, and his dad talks to him and says, son, you want to come back home? No, Dad, I want to be a street dog. Buster's my new friend. I want to be like Buster. And Buster's like, yeah, you're with me now. So Tramp, he's older now. He's kind of like, okay, son, you got to learn the hard way. And of course, he loses his collar. We don't lose it. Once he does the last task, they take his collar off. Hey, man, you have been emancipated. You are a free dog like us. Yeah, the dog catcher catches his ass. And when you ain't got a dog tag, guess what? You're going straight to the pound, and there's no hope for your ass ever getting out. Now, early in the film, one of the tasks was to steal a can from this big-ass bulldog And this motherfucker got a chip too, little ghetto ass dog. And shenanigans happen, and he ended up getting captured by the dog pound man, the dog catcher. So when he goes to the dog pound, they put his ass in a cage with that dog he got in trouble with earlier. I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be good. 4th of July pops off. This dog's like, yeah, I'm about to kill your ass. Well, Tramp, his daddy, comes to the dog pound to come save his son. He gets there in the nick of time because this big ass dog is about to fuck Scamp up. And the cool thing about this scene, you got fireworks going off in the background. So every time they're fighting in this dark ass cage, there's flashes of light that's red and blue. Very cool scene. And they're double teaming, you know, daddy and son is fighting this big ass dog, and it's pretty cool. I like that. So, make a long story short, him and that little girl hook up, moves in with Scamp's family. Everybody got these big ass sad eyes. We know we can't have no more dogs. We have too many as is. God damn it. Oh dear. Taking one more dog in wouldn't be so bad. These motherfuckers got a kennel in their house. All these damn dogs. But this movie is nowhere near as good as the original. And I can barely tolerate that first one. This one here, the songs killed it. I didn't have a connection with Scamp. Buster was kind of cool. All the other dogs, their personality was whack. They had some weird dogs. One in the dog pound was schizophrenic. Then you had a French dog at the dog pound. You had some other dogs. They were weird. And then the original dogs came back. Of course, everybody has different voices now because it was many years ago. Those people died off. But the original dogs from part 1, the one that couldn't smell shit and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, this movie was cool. And you got a chance to see the parents in this movie. In the first one, you see their arms and legs and walking, but you actually see their faces this time. And the little baby's a little older. He's cute with his little blonde hair and blue eyes, sharing his sucker with Scamp when he was walking through town early in the film. But I can see why people might like this film. Me, Perez, I'm not watching this shit ever again. Motherfucker. These songs, they killed me. At the end of the film, they're celebrating. All the dogs are in the house. They're playing with their newfound family and loved ones. And that same damn song comes on again called Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, welcome to hell. I hate this song. Perez, you got me again. You're 2 for 2. Welcome. Love you like a play cousin. Until next time, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends. And more importantly, leave your comments down low. And I'm out. Peace. And just remember, it's just my point of view.
A big thanks to Blacktastic for being here in another video. As usual, my friend, always a pleasure to have you in a video, and loved hearing your thoughts on this movie. You had me laughing with the first one and with this one, and yeah, I'm definitely with you on the songs in this one. The songs in the original, they're classic for me. I love them. Like I said, I love that original film, and I know that you weren't crazy about the original film either, but yeah, the songs in this one are pretty painful, and I can't deny that, can't lie about that in any way, shape, or form. Definitely didn't work for me on rewatch, and that's coming from somebody who has nostalgia for this film. Ultimately, what I can say is that I really enjoy the first one more, without a doubt. This is a fun time as a fan of Disney, and as somebody who grew up with this film, it was nice to go back and revisit it. I think it's a nice movie. I think it's a cute movie. I enjoyed it while watching it. I wasn't bored. I didn't hate it. But yeah, it just doesn't hold a candle to the charm of the original in any way, shape, or form for me, even though it does have some elements like the animation that, you know, technically are far more crisp and looks better than the original, even though there's something about that hand-drawn animation from the original that just has such a charm to me that I would any day rather watch that one over this one. Overall, I enjoy the message of this movie, and I enjoy the way it's conveyed. I enjoyed plenty of moments throughout the course of the film. It's a cute movie. I can see kids of today still really enjoying this movie, and I think that just binging the two back to back, there was a lot to enjoy about that first and the second one that just kind of kept me engaged in the story, these characters, and what was happening around them. With that said, it's silly, it's dumb. At the end of the day, it's not this overly well-written narrative that has you completely captivated and, you know, crying tears of joy as you're watching it. It's just a silly, fun time as a Disney film that went straight to video, that is a sequel of a film that, you know, had been out for about 50 years at that point, which is absolutely crazy. Let's talk a little bit about the cast. I have a list here of the cast I want to kind of mention. And so you got Scott Wolf as Scamp, our main character, and I think he does a good job. I feel like he's just one of those voices that was very familiar at that time when movies were being made for animated cartoons or animated movies. I enjoy his voice work as Scamp. He definitely sells you as the character, or sells it as the character, and I enjoy him throughout the course of the film. Now, the one that I was the most surprised at when I looked at IMDb, because I didn't even realize this, and I didn't realize it while I was watching it, was Alyssa Milano as the character of Angel, who is the love interest, who is a dog that Scamp ends up running into on the streets. That's part of this gang that he kind of joins, that's led by that character Buster that I mentioned earlier. And yeah, she wants a cushy life. She wants to be wanted by a family, and so he kind of starts to realize and starts to get humbled as to what he has and what he wants once he starts to connect with Angel a little bit more. But yeah, you have Alyssa Milano playing that role, and I had no idea that she was actually the person who played that all these years. Never knew that in any way, shape, or form. Then you have Jeff Bennett, who played the character of Tramp. Of course, you also have Jodi Benson playing Lady, because the original voice actors from 1955, of course, had passed on, and I would say for the most part they did a pretty good job. In this movie, Tramp is a bit of a stickler for the rules, you know, a little bit more. Now, I understand where he's coming from. He's part of a family. He wants to respect the family that has taken him in, and kind of, you know, wants to have these rules that are set in place for his kids. But, you know, he was this ultimate street dog, which they definitely touch on in this movie. In this movie, he just kind of has this attitude that's very different from the Tramp that we see in the first film, even though not that much time is supposed to have passed, because these dogs are still relatively very young, looking very similar to how they look at the end of the first film. A little bit older, but not too much. And so Tramp is definitely a bit of a stickler. Lady is kind of sidelined in this film. A lot of the stuff that happens with Scamp's journey growing up, a lot of the parental lessons in this film come from Tramp. And so Lady is kind of sidelined in a lot of ways. She's in the movie, but, you know, for the fact that she's in the title of the movie, I don't think she's in the movie nearly enough. And then this is one that's not even really consequential for the film. It doesn't really even matter. But the voice actor who plays Patrick Star in SpongeBob SquarePants is in this film. I believe his name is pronounced Bill Fagerbach. I don't know how to pronounce his name, to be completely honest, but as soon as I heard him, he's the character of Mooch, and yeah, once I heard him, it was just like, oh great, Patrick Star is in this movie. I should have written down her name, but also the voice actress who plays Lillian and Phil in the Rugrats plays one of Lady and Tramp's daughters, and so literally it's the exact same voice. I think she may play two of the puppies, and they literally are just Lillian and Phil. And then you also have this guy playing the exact same voice as Patrick Star, and it feels like they casted these Nickelodeon voice actors and just said, hey, just do exactly what you do on Nickelodeon, don't change it at all. And they were just probably like, I mean, hey, you know, I'm a voice actor. I could probably give you a bit of a different voice that's kind of similar. It's like, no, I'm paying you to just be Patrick Star. No, I'm just paying you to be Phil and Lillian from Rugrats. Thanks. That's pretty much how it felt like it went. Like, there are familiar voices throughout that you might be able to pick out, and some of them are just from other cartoons, and those voice actors are doing the exact same voice from said cartoons. And then here's another one that's pretty an interesting name. The guy who plays Buster, the villain, the top dog as part of the street group, Chaz Palminteri. That's how you say his name. That's interesting name, but yeah, he plays Buster. Really cool, gravitas kind of voice. Really enjoyed him as the character of Buster. I think he plays the role well, even though he's a fairly generic villain on paper. But I thought the voice fit the character pretty well. And then I definitely just want to highlight the directors of this film, which are Darrell Rooney and Jeannine Roussell. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her last name. A lot of times when I'm going through IMDb, I realize that there's so many individuals that have these names that just make it so hard to really pronounce it properly on screen. So I'm going to assume it's Jeannine Roussell or Russell. Who knows? Either way, they're the directors of this film. You know, obviously a director and a co-director. And for the most part, I think as a sequel that's coming out 50 years after the original film that, you know, follows up the legacy and kind of does a soft reboot kind of thing where they kind of take that original story and kind of recontextualize it and do it similarly with this one. I think they did a good job. I think if they ever made a third Lady and the Tramp all these years later, I think it could still be a silly, good, fun time. And ultimately, as a fan of dogs, as a fan of Disney, this was an enjoyable watch, though I can admit that there were elements about it that definitely don't work nearly as much as the original. It doesn't have the same charm as the original. The music in this movie is pretty eye-rolly. Like, the entire time, every time a song started, I was just like, oh my god. There was literally actually pretty touching moments that I actually was really engaged in emotionally, and then the music would come in and it would, like, somebody starting a musical number and it would literally ruin it. I remember at some point I looked over to the Big Rob Theory and my fiance and I was just like, That moment was great, and had they not had that music pop in there, it probably would have been way better. So yeah, Scamp's Adventure from 2001, Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure that is. Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Did you grow up with this film like I did? Do you like this movie? Have you seen this film? Have you not seen this film? Reply to any and all of that down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed our collab here today, please go and find Blacktastic Media's link down below in the description box. Go give them some love. Let them know I sent you. Plenty more coming here on the channel, both collabs and solo videos. I am going to be slowing down on the collabs in just a little bit once I get through the collabs that I already currently have planned. So that's just something for you guys to know. And I'm probably going to be starting to do different things with the collabs. So yeah, guys, I'm going to wrap it up right here. Please hit that like button, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.